Hiya 10, here is your homework for this week. So you should have taken one of these booklets home. If you haven't, you need to make sure that you get one from me ASAP. There are some in the classroom. First thing you need to do, please, is fill in the front, certainly with your surname and first name. Okay? And I would make sure that you read this really carefully because this is there to help you know what you need to do in the exam. Alright? In here you've got your exam. At the back, you've got an insert. And you've got the texts that you are going to need to read, okay? So you've got source A and you have got source B, all right? Each week I'm going to take you through a couple of the questions and then you're going to have a go at doing them. So remember, this is all revision for your mock exam, which is going to be a paper 2 exam that you'll be doing at the end of June. So remember, question 1 is always one of these sort of 4 statement questions. On paper 1 it's list 4 things, and on paper 2 you've got to choose 4 statements which are true. This question is testing your knowledge of implicit and explicit ideas. So you're not looking for the exact words. It's not necessarily going to say base camp is a cosy and happy place, but you've got to work out whether you can infer that it's cosy and happy or not. And then you colour in the correct boxes here. Now remember, it's best to do this by a process of elimination, work out the ones that aren't correct and see what you're left with if it's not obvious. Check this carefully. There's often ones in there that trip you up, okay, and they are there to make sure that you are reading closely for both the obvious ideas, the explicit ideas, and the less obvious, the implicit ideas. So first thing you've got to do for your homework is do that. So you're going to need to read again, lines 1 to 12, make sure you read the right bit. Then you need to do question 2. Now I've put you loads of reminders on here. I expect you to copy these onto your sheet, or you can turn them into a flashcard or a revision poster or something as your revision aid for question 2. It's quite okay for you to just do it on the sheet. You could do it in different colours like I have if you want, and it's completely up to you. So the first thing you'll want to do is make sure you pick out the key words in the question. This time it's asking us to focus on the effects of the weather on people. We've got to use details from both sources to write a summary of the different ways people are affected by the weather. Okay? Picking out the ideas here really helps us to know that we know what we're writing about. The question is worth 8 marks, so we're not really going to have more than 15 minutes on this question. Here I've given you a breakdown of the mark scheme, and we've looked at these words before. We know that for 1 to 2 marks it's going to be simple and limited. 3 to 4 marks we're going to have some attempts at a summary. 5 to 6 marks is going to be a clear and relevant summary, and 7 to 8 marks is going to be a perceptive summary. Remember, that means insightful, noticing the things that other people don't notice, observing, picking up on the detail. So your response is going to be really detailed and maybe picking up on the less obvious differences. So what do you need to include? Here's your checklist. You need inferences from both texts, quotations or references from both texts, and you need to pick out the differences. These will be perceptive to get 7 or 8 marks, clear and relevant to get 5 or 6, and so on and so on. So how do you approach it? Ask yourself, what is each text about? What is different between them? How do you know? What evidence are you going to use? And why does the writer say it? What are they trying to imply? So they're the questions that you need to be asking yourself when you're reading. Now you might write something like this. In source A, and then explain what the text is about in relation to the focus of the question, and then use your quotation. We see this when, or embed your quotation somehow, which suggests, and try to infer. Then think about, well, what is the writer trying to do here, which is maybe different than in text source B. Then use a comparative connective, like in contrast, or however, or whereas, and then in source B, to say how it's different. So really what that means is we're making a statement, we're quoting, we're inferring, and then we're comparing to the other text. And you're going to follow that structure through at least 3 times. Statement, quote, infer, compare, statement, quote, infer. Okay, on source B. And you're going to do that 3 times. Okay, so that doesn't give you long. So once you've written all that down, you might need to pause the video at any of these points to get all that information down. And once you've done all of that, you can turn over, and there's space for you to answer question 2 there. If you want to do it in your books, then you can, but I'd rather you do it on the sheet. And obviously the text are at the back of the pack. Okay, so that gives you everything you need for your homework. If you want to do it in school, you need a bit of help, then that's absolutely fine too. Good luck.